Hey family, in today's video, I want to share with you about boundaries. Welcome in our broadcast to You Are Enough, and I'm your host, Prophetess Nikki. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. Set boundaries without having fear. You know you need to set these boundaries. You got to do it, and you can't be afraid to do it. Set boundaries without being scared. Set boundaries in your life where you need to set them without the fear of losing something that you value, something that you love, or someone that you value or someone that you love. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. Set boundaries without having fear. You have to set boundaries because whenever you set boundaries, you honor who you are as a person. When we set boundaries in our life, we protect ourselves. You know, God even set boundaries. God set boundaries even in the beginning when He separated light from darkness. The laws of God and the commandments of God. These are boundaries that God set in place. This is why God told us certain things we shouldn't do because of the consequences that are going to come. And a lot of people don't set boundaries in life because they just are so afraid of what might happen. What do I mean by that? Some people know what they need to do. They won't do it because they're afraid they're going to lose something. They're afraid they're going to lose someone. So they will sit there and tolerate someone violating their boundaries. You got to create boundaries, and you got to create these boundaries without having fear. You can't be afraid of what might happen if I set these boundaries. Maybe people fear of not being liked. You might not be liked because you set boundaries. So what if you're not liked? Because you set boundaries. Boundaries are necessary. Boundaries let people in life know that you have standards and you can't cross them. You have boundaries set in place because you love yourself, you value yourself, and you honor who you are as an individual. And this is just a way of protecting who you are. When you set boundaries in your life, family, you send up a signal. I mean, you send up a big signal that there are certain things that you're not going to be able to do to me, and you're not going to be able to get away with certain things. So you hold people accountable for what they do. You hold people responsible for what they don't do when they're a part of your circle, when they're a part of your life. Create boundaries and do it without fear. Do it without being afraid. You have a right to set boundaries. You need to set boundaries. You love who you are, don't you? So set boundaries. People who love you, people who really and honestly love who you are, if they respect who you are as a person, they're not going to mind abiding by the boundaries that you set in place. Boundaries just tell the world, hey, I have standards. And there are certain things that you're not going to do to me. There are certain things that I'm not going to allow you to do. These are healthy boundaries. You have to live by that. Do it without fear. And it will be the people. See, listen, see, when you set boundaries and you do it out of fear, you don't do it. So you let people know that they can walk all over you. You let people know that you're a doormat and you'll still be there. You let people know that they can do anything to you and you're still going to have an open arm. You're still going to open their door. You have to require and you have to demand respect. And if you require respect, if you demand respect, that means you create boundaries and you're going to stand on your boundaries. Protect who you are. Protect everything about your life. Nurture everything about who you are. Nurture everything about your life. People don't like what they can't control. This is why people hate for you to set boundaries. They hate it. They hate the standards that you set because they know you are a person that can't be controlled. They know you're not. See, some people who don't mean well by your family, when they see that you can't be controlled, how they want to manipulate, how they want to control your life, this is when they will guilt trip you. This is when you're going to start seeing the behaviors of people change towards you. Their mannerisms are going to be different towards you. They're going to be short patient with you. They're going to become distant towards you because you're not that person that allows them to control you anymore. You're not that person who don't have boundaries. Maybe you were a person who didn't care. Long as you had a person around, long as you had that friend around, that friend stayed, that person stayed. That was the wrong person. Because people who love you, they want you to have boundaries. They want you to have standards. Why? Because they have them. They have standards and they have boundaries. This is why it's so important to understand who you keep company with, who you are around, because it has so much to do with how much detriment that they're going to do to you and your life. Don't be afraid to create boundaries. Do it without having fear. Don't be afraid to do it. Don't be afraid to be unliked. Don't be afraid not to people please. People pleasing doesn't get you anywhere in life, family. We got to be God chasers and we got to be God pleasers, not people pleasers. People pleasing, it makes you miserable. You're going to be miserable at the end of the day. It's just like you keeping that person around in your life and they keep violating your boundaries and they keep violating your standards. You're going to be miserable. But the person that you are allowing to violate your standards and your boundaries, they're going to be happy because you're giving them a free pass to mistreat you. You are giving these people a free pass to do whatever they want to do, knowing you still will be there. You will still open your heart back up to them. You will still have an open arm. You will still open up your life to them. You will still open up your wallet to them. You will still give them the support, the love, and everything else that comes with you. You will still give these people a place in your life, a place in your heart. Why? And they keep violating your standards and they keep violating your boundaries. This is how you know. And you know what you need to do because you've said it and you're so uncomfortable every time you allow somebody to violate your boundary and your standards, aren't you? You're uncomfortable and it doesn't feel good. That's the Holy Spirit letting you know. Didn't I tell you to set boundaries? God created boundaries. God set boundaries in the beginning. Go look and read Genesis. See how God separated the night from the day, light, darkness, commandments, and laws. Look what God did. He created boundaries. He set boundaries, even the firmament, the heavens, the earth. Listen, He set boundaries. You got to set boundaries with people in your life. You have to let people know there's certain things that I will not tolerate. You have to. You have to love yourself enough. When people see you loving you, when people see you valuing you, respecting you, they're going to give you the same. When people see you can care less about what they do to you and you still going to accept them back in your life, in their life, no matter what they do against your family, they're going to do it. And you don't have to ask yourself a question. Why do they do it? Why do you allow it? That's the question that you need to answer. Why do I allow it? You allow it because you don't love who you are. You allow it because you don't know who you are. You allow it because you don't love yourself. You allow it because you think that's what you deserve. You allow it because you don't think you can do better. Yes, you can. You can do bad by yourself. Don't let somebody else in your life to do bad against your family. Don't do that. Value your life. Value who you are. Value it. Tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. Don't live the rest of your life with people who don't love you and who don't respect the boundaries. I want you to learn to create boundaries and do it without fear. Create boundaries in your life and don't be afraid to do it. You're going to get some pushback, and you're going to get pushback from the narcissistic people. You're going to get pushback from people who don't have good intentions towards you. You're going to know the difference between those who come to help and those who come to harm. You remember that. People who come to harm, you're going to know by the boundaries that they hate that you set. This is how you know the people that come to harm you and don't have good intentions towards you because they can't stand the boundaries that you put in place. People that came to help and to bless you, they don't have a problem respecting and honoring your boundaries because they live by the same code. Thank y'all for tuning in today, family. I love you so much. It just hurts my heart to read a lot of your emails and a lot of the things that you all are constantly going through with people that you thought would love you and honor you. God will heal you. I know how you feel, family. We all do. We all been there at some point in our life, no matter how long ago it's been. Set boundaries. And you're going to keep rehearsing this cycle. You're going to keep looping this same toxic cycle until you set boundaries, until you set a higher standard for yourself. When you set a higher standard for yourself, when you set a higher boundary for who you are as an individual, and to let people know this is what you allow and what you don't allow, if they love you enough, they'll stay. Those who do not, they will give you every excuse in the world, not a reason, because they don't have one. They can't give you one. They're going to give you an excuse, and they're going to blame you for why they have to go. Let them go. Your heart will heal. Your heart may be bleeding right now. They may have crushed your self-respect, but God is a healer, and God will heal you everywhere you hurt. Learn to create healthy boundaries and learn to do it without fear. Learn to create healthy standards for yourself without being afraid. Bye-bye.